I have a standard answer I usually give people when they ask me where my ideas come from. I usually tell them that I work at them. I don't rely on inspiration. I think I'm going to write a book. What do I want to write a book about? And I sit down and work at ideas. But not suitable for family viewing actually came to me in a different way. I was working on another book, came to a bit of a roadblock, decided to procrastinate a bit, went downstairs to watch some TV, and I was watching a talk show. And the host was talking about her 17-year-old son who had a part-time job at a drugstore. He had a girlfriend, he left his underwear all over the floor, blah, blah, blah. And it just hit me how weird that must be to be the child of a famous person. Especially when all the members of the audience were laughing and they all seemed to know his name and know other stories about him. But he's not a famous person. He's just living his life. And so that's really the very beginning of the whole Mimi and Robin story. Then a little bit later, as that idea was sort of brewing in the back of my brain, I remembered hearing about Bing Crosby years and years and years ago. Now that's a name that a lot of young people don't know anymore, but he was very famous in probably from about the 40s on to the 80s. And he was an actor and a singer who had a very sort of warm on-screen personality. Everybody loved Bing Crosby. Very sort of fatherly type of guy. And his son had written a book about him, saying that he wasn't like that at all. He was cold and distant. And so that kind of came into play as well with this idea I had with Mimi. The difference between the on-screen personality and the at-home personality. And then the more I thought about it, the more I realized this is kind of what all kids go through. I think most kids grow up adoring their parents. When they're little, they just want mommy and daddy. They think their eyes light up when they walk in the room. And then as they get older, especially as they hit their teen years, there comes a time where most kids will look at their parent and think, who are you? What are you talking about? Who do you think you are? You act so, smart, cool, whatever when you're out in the real world, but then at home you're someone entirely different. And so I think that's what worked for me. What really brought the story together was this sort of universal nature of Robin and Mimi's relationship. Sure, Mimi is very, very famous and they're very rich, but in fact they just have a sort of an exaggerated version of what a lot of kids and their parents go through.